in the chat box. So if you need to go there now, you can, or you can go later and listen as I introduce our first guest, who's one of our partners on the CLiP project, Hanifa Kassam. This is, I know, what people have been waiting for, some stories and resources from our partners. So Hanifa works at Toronto Public Health and is an active member of the Lawrence Heights Interorganizational Network. The acronym for that is LION, and LION is one of the collaborating partners on the CLiP project. I recently met Hanifa through Denise Earle, who is a resident of Lawrence Heights and the co-chair of LION. Denise wasn't able to be with us today because the webinar conflicted with their monthly LION meeting. So we're very grateful to have Hanifa joining us as she's become quite involved in the project over the last 2 months. I'm going to pass it over to you, Hanifa, and would you like me to advance your slides, or do you want to do that?
Fortunately for me, there's only one slide, so there's not much work for you to do. So I just want to, pardon?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So thank you all for participating in today's webinar. I really appreciate the opportunity that CLiP is providing LION to deepen our understanding of our own practices, but also the opportunity to document that and share that with like-minded individuals. So very briefly, I'm going to go over what LION is, and I'm going to go pretty much into some more information around strategic planning and some of what we've learned and how we're taking our learnings to move forward as it relates to inclusion and equity. So a bit of history. LION was initiated in 2005 in response to the Summer of the Gun. It was a call to action from residents in the community for agencies to better coordinate and respond to some of the violence that was happening in Toronto, but also notably in the Lawrence Heights community. The LION is made up of a number of stakeholders, many of which are agencies. Over the past 2 years, there's been an increasing interest and response to engaging residents in both the leadership but also in the actions that agencies but also the LION is interested in investing in as a community and as a collaborative. About 2 years ago, we went through a pretty robust strategic planning process, the first time in the time and the duration of LION itself. And we took away a number of unique learnings from that opportunity, some of which really resonated with residents as well as the thoughts that agencies were having, but a lot of it cemented some realities that weren't present in the LION structure, which has led to us actually moving into a transition process. So the strategic planning process not only identified key action areas for us, but it also highlighted that residents were really interested in taking on leadership roles in the network. However, the network itself was meant for organizational stakeholders and not residents. In addition to that, what we also learned was that there was an interest in community planning in an equitable way, but how we did that and how we understood that was something that was also missing. Finally, another thing that we learned was that how we engage residents in conversation and how we encourage residents to participate moving forward was something that, while there was interest in doing, there was no roadmap. So over the past couple of years, a few things that we've been working on as a collaborative have been to respond to these particular areas of action and growth that the LION had identified through its planning process. A couple of things that we've been working on most recently have been around better understanding the supports and resources that residents need to be able to equitably participate in LION activities. We also put together a transition group that will look at a number of different activities and our structure through an equity-based lens. What that actually looks like and means to us, we're not too sure about, but we've been very transparent and open to saying that this is a process that we're also learning while doing through. So that being said, there's been less activity sometime and more sharing and more dialogue to better understand what our needs are and to thoughtfully be able to move forward. CLiP has also come in at a really opportune time because we've been able to connect with other individuals as well as Jillian and those that are a part of this project to help us refine what that means. How does it look for a network largely made up of community stakeholders and agencies to adopt an equity-based practice and integrate that into the work that they're doing alongside residents? So what does co-leadership mean to us? So some of the things that we're learning have been largely related to some of the priorities of this project, so we really look forward to seeing where it goes from here. In addition to that, a few things that I want to highlight is one of the tools that we use to help us identify some of these key priority areas was something called the Coalition Inventory Assessment. I'll share a link in the chat box around that. It's a pretty robust tool, and it took a lot of effort for us to implement and evaluate, but it was a really helpful guiding tool for us to not only identify our participation, but also what it meant to be a member of the Lion, but also what our priorities were in terms of moving forward. That is all I'm going to share for now, given that I have 5 minutes, and I believe they're up at this time.
You're perfect. Thank you, Hanifa. That's great, and thanks for sharing that tool and for highlighting that this is all a work in progress and we're constantly learning, and it's the commitment